As the US remains deeply entangled with Iran, North Korea's Kim Jong Un tightened strategic alignment with China through high-level diplomatic move. The Kim-Wang meeting signals intensifying collaboration as US influence across Asia faces coordinated pushback from revisionist powers. Pyongyang boldly declares backing for a multipolar world order designed specifically to counter America's global dominance. Washington finds itself sidelined once again as Pyongyang now bets heavily on emerging China-led global architecture. Kim reaffirms North Korea's One China stance on Taiwan, raising fears of a fresh multi-front war brewing in the Pacific. As the United States remains preoccupied with the conflict in Iran, North Korean leader Kim Jong Un has reinforced his country's alignment with China, signaling a deeper strategic partnership. On April 10th, Kim held a high-level meeting with Chinese Foreign Minister Wang, marking a key diplomatic encounter during Wang's two-day visit to Pyongyang. According to North Korean and Chinese state media, the talks took place at the Workers' Party headquarters in Pyongyang and focused on coordinating positions on regional and global issues. Kim emphasized that in the current geopolitical climate, strengthening ties with China remains a top priority for North Korea and its long-term security interests. He called for increased political, economic, and security-related exchanges, as well as closer cooperation to safeguard the shared strategic interests of both nations. The leader also voiced strong support for China's vision of building a multipolar world, positioning North Korea alongside Beijing in advocating for a shift away from US-led dominance. This comes as both countries seek to position themselves against what they frame as a unipolar, Western-centric global order promoted by the United States and its allies. In a significant statement, Kim also reaffirmed Pyongyang backing for Beijing's One China principle, which treats Taiwan as an inseparable part of the Chinese mainland. The official statement from North Korea asserts that Taiwan is an inalienable element of Chinese territory, aligning Pyongyang with Beijing's core territorial doctrine. Although official reports did not explicitly detail every item on the agenda, the timing of the visit is notable, occurring just weeks before a planned US-China summit in Beijing. The talks are set to precede a high-stakes summit in May between Donald Trump and Xi Jinping, which is expected to cover trade, security, and Taiwan among other issues. Analysts believe the North Korea-China meeting could open a potential diplomatic window that might, at least indirectly, influence future contacts between Pyongyang and Washington. However, Kim has largely suspended direct dialogue with the United States since the collapse of the 2019 denuclearization negotiations, leaving the bilateral track in a state of near freeze. Just ahead of critical ceasefire talks, a $200 million US drone has vanished over the Strait of Hormuz, instantly raising fears that the conflict could escalate again from the skies and the sea. A US Navy MQ-4C Triton reportedly disappeared over the strait right after broadcasting an in-flight emergency alert, and then dropped off tracking screens. The aircraft had just finished roughly a 3-hour surveillance sweep over the Gulf and the narrow Strait of Hormuz, monitoring shipping lanes and coastal activity. Trouble began as the Triton turned back toward its home base at Naval Air Station Sigonella in Italy, suggesting something went wrong on the return leg, not during the patrol. Flight data shows the drone squawked code 7700 for a general emergency before it began losing altitude, a sign that its systems, or crew on the ground, detected serious trouble. Open-source trackers then recorded a rapid, uncontrolled-looking descent, and moments later the Triton signal vanished completely from public feeds. At one point, the drone's track reportedly showed a slight turn toward Iranian airspace, fueling speculation that it may have drifted into a more dangerous zone. For now, it remains unclear whether the aircraft simply crashed into the sea, was intercepted by hostile action, or fell victim to a critical technical or software glitch. Military analysts are circling around three main explanations for the Triton's sudden disappearance, each with very different implications. One theory suggests a catastrophic technical failure, anything from engine issues to sensor or control problems, on the long return leg home. Another possibility is a loss of control shortly after the emergency call, ending in a crash into the Gulf's waters before recovery crews could react. A third scenario points to hostile action or sophisticated electronic interference near Iranian waters, which might have blinded or disrupted the drone. So far there is no verified evidence of a shoot-down, only rising suspicion and a fresh mystery layered on top of an already fragile ceasefire. The MQ-4C is central to how the US Navy watches choke points like Hormuz, acting as its long-range eyes over the ocean in contested waters. It provides long-endurance, wide-area surveillance over sea lanes that carry a huge share of the world's oil and gas exports. By 2025, the Navy was operating around 20 Tritons, with plans on the books to acquire several more to deepen coverage in hotspots. The MQ-4C Triton is a high-altitude, long-endurance unmanned surveillance aircraft built to loiter for over 24 hours at more than 50,000 feet. It has a range of roughly 7,400 nautical miles across maritime zones, allowing it to scan vast ocean areas in a single mission. The platform supports P-8A Poseidon patrol aircraft by providing large-scale ocean surveillance and queuing for closer inspection. In US doctrine, it acts as the primary eyes over the ocean for naval operations, feeding constant data back to commanders. Each airframe is valued at over $200 million when you factor in sensors and support, making any loss both a military and financial blow. Hangzhou-based Jingan Tech says its ARA-driven Jingqi platform intercepted radio emissions from 4B2s, mapping their movements as they struck Iranian targets. Reports say the system picked up radio signals from 4B2's bombers in the early phase of the campaign, as the US began joint strikes on hardened sites. Jingan claims these signals were captured despite strict emission control on stealth missions, arguing that even minimal transmissions can be caught by advanced AI SIGINT. The company says AI processing let it reconstruct likely flight routes and a basic post-strike timeline for the bombers, including their return tracks. This came as US B-2's targeted hardened missile infrastructure buried in Iran's mountainous terrain, hitting key elements of Tehran's long-range arsenal. Jingan notes its system mainly detected the aircraft on the way back, not during the deepest penetration phase, giving only partial visibility on the mission profile. The Jingqi platform fuses satellite imagery, signals intelligence, aviation data, and open-source feeds, using AI to build a unified operational picture. Jingan says its system began flagging unusual US activity in the region from January 2026, based on rising surveillance and movement indicators. That activity intensified around February 6 during sensitive US-Iran nuclear talks, and was logged as part of a clear escalation trend. Internally, Jingan assessed this as a US buildup for a possible high-intensity operation, issuing defense security alerts to interested clients. The firm says its platform correlated radio traffic, movement tracks, and deployment signals across feeds, allowing AI models to infer strike packages. Open sources indicate Jingan provides tools to the PLA, Chinese state bodies and defense contractors, placing it inside China's security and defense tech ecosystem. Its staff reportedly includes former intelligence officers and engineers from Alibaba, Huawei, and Baidu, combining state security experience with big tech AI skills.